have you here with. So feel welcome. Just a reminder that, as Jasmine said, the session is being recorded. And then introduce yourself in the chat. I see that some people have already introduced themselves, people from more South Africans and other places in the world. So welcome. Welcome, sit back and relax. Just reminder to mute yourselves, and then so that we don't hear the feedback noise, and feel free to use the reaction buttons to respond during the session. There will be questions that you can ask, put it in the chat. So today, our spotlight is packed with many different things. A warm welcome. Hopefully I welcomed you and you feel welcomed. You feel excited to be here, just as I am. Just about me quickly, I didn't mention that. I'm Chantal Travada. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa. I teach at Gardens Commercial High School, where I am the deputy principal and also head of English. I love being in the classroom, so that for me, so besides being the deputy, I think my real purpose for being here is teaching. And then just note that there's lots of content delivery in this session, and there will be an interactive question and answer session later on. So I'm going to welcome our speaker this afternoon, our facilitator. This is Venessa Geswindt from Durban, South Africa. So the big question is, are you using coaching for impact in education? So this is what we're going to look at. Are you using coaching for impact in education? Some of the opinion that coaching in schools is fast becoming an essential component of developing effective leadership and establishing solid professional relationships in schools and in organizations. And I'm sure you'll agree with that. So today I'm honored to welcome Venessa. She's Associate Certified Coach, Curriculum and Learning Designer and Lecturer. She's going to share her experience, her knowledge, her expertise of the impact and potential of coaching. So we'll have about a 30 to 35 minute content delivery, and then that will be followed by Q&A. So if you have questions, please post them in the chat, and we'll get to those questions a little later. So welcome, Venessa, and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Chantal. Really happy to be here, because talking about coaching is talking about something that's extremely passionate to me. What I would like to do now that you've been introduced to me is to just ask if you can give a brief introduction of yourself. And as you do so, have a look at the comments that are showing up on your slide. Tell me which one you relate to and why you think coaching is beneficial as you introduce yourselves. So if we could just do a quick introduction, and I'll start with you, Shoba, and you can call the next person in the room. Shoba, if you can hear me.
Yes. You'd like me to introduce myself? Okay. Hi, my name is Shoba. I'm interested in coaching because I'm a coach, and I didn't actually pursue coaching because I was interested in it. So I have a general understanding of what coaching is, and I do apply coaching strategies, but I would love to know more about leadership coaching and what it does for instructional practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Shoba. The next person, Mohindo, if I'm saying that correctly. And Mohindo, after introducing yourself, if you can call on the next person, that would be great.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity given. Thank you for the opportunity given. I'm called Mohindo David, a teacher of mathematics, a passionate educator who has impacted many teachers to evolve in performance at the teaching level, more especially on the school setting. I've helped them to teach the recommended information to the children. I love also coaching. I do facilitations. I'm a moderator, so I've helped many people to know the right thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahinda. Can I call on you, Melinda?
Absolutely. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning. For me, my name is Melinda Wilson. I'm from the United States and I teach dance. So coaching for me is a little bit different. So I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, this is really going to be cool for me. So I've coached, but for professional competitions and things like that. So it's extremely different. So thank you.
Thanks, Melinda. Would you like to call the next person or shall I just go on?
Yeah, go on, please. Thank you.
Okay, Aya Paraj, if I'm saying that correctly, and if you can then call on the next person.
You are correct. Thank you. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I am Ayyappa Raj from India. I am a school guide and administrator. So I have used coaching before, and I would like to know more about instructional and leadership coaching. Looking forward to your session. Already I missed your session today. I don't want to miss. So I'm here today. So may I request Chitra Adi. Chitra ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Ayaparaj. All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I'm Chitra from Malaysia. Okay, I shall switch on my camera. Okay, I'm Chitra from Malaysia, and I'm used to training in-service teachers. Okay, and I mean, I work with the Ministry of Education where we train in-service teachers. We provide a lot of CPDs. And when we talk about in-service teachers, coaching and mentoring is like part and parcel of it. And I've also been involved in instructional and leadership coaching for school heads, but a very minimal. So I would like to know more about instructional and leadership coaching, although I'm not involved in it, but I'm involved with these preschool teachers. I would like to know the skills to help them out. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you call the next one, Wilberforce?
Thank you. Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. My name is Wilberforce. I'm from Uganda. I'm a teacher, and I love coaching, but I really want to learn more about instruction and leadership coaching. Thank you.
Thanks, Wilberforce. You call the next person.
I
think we've got Khalid. Khalid and Alejandra. I'm not sure how to say your name. Forgive me.
Good to see you. My name is Alejandra from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Vanessa, good to see you here. I'm head of studies at the secondary school, so I use coaching tools to work with my teachers, but we need to learn all the time, and you're not expertise about this, so I'm so glad to be here to listen to you.
Welcome. Thank you. Khalid? I don't think he can hear me. Buddha, you want to do a quick intro?
Namaste everyone from Nepal. I'm a teacher in Nepal. I'm 21 years old and I believe coaching is different in different people. So I want to experience what kind of coaching goes all around the world. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Buddha. Marge, can I call on you?
Thank you. I'm really excited to be part of this. I have done what some people would call coaching and other people would call mentoring. And I'm really looking forward to hearing Vanessa's view of maybe the difference, or maybe they're the same. And I totally agree. It is such an important part of teaching in our country as well, to kind of lift the standard of teaching and possibly, hopefully in the long run, the status. Thank you. And the effectiveness.
Thank you so much. Zulkifli.
Hi everyone, I'm Zulkifli bin Saleh from Malaysia. I'm from primary school. At school, I am head of media leader. So I have to coach and mentor all teachers at my school. I'm so excited for this session. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got a few: Madhu, then Natalie, Lisa, Anas, and Shemin. Natalie.
Hello, I'm Natalie. I'm a teacher at a secondary school in Malaysia. At school, I have very minimal coaching experience because at school level, I am an advisory teacher for a trust school. So we were expected to have coaching with a few of our teachers. So basically, I have very, very minimal coaching. And I'm not quite sure whether I'm on the right path. So I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time, and because we have so little precious time together, I'm just going to ask Anas to accept my apology. Shemin, a warm welcome to you. Lisa, I don't think I got to you. Mari, I think I've missed you as well. And Madhu. So I'm going to move on. And from hearing your introductions, I can gather that some of us are more experienced in coaching and some of us have less experience, which is quite okay. So we're going to look quickly at what coaching is. And at this stage, I'm going to ask if Caro, if you can please share so that we can play the video from your laptop, which worked so much better. But what I'd like you to do as you're watching the video is I'd like you to write down the key ideas, the words and the phrases that stand out to you. It's a very brief video of 1 minute 48. Thank you, Caro. No sound.
When you hear the word coaching, what springs to mind? Football coach? Acting coach? Vocal coach? Maybe even a financial coach? Confusing, isn't it? Well, coach has become such a popular title that it's being used by lots of professions, often with no training. And sometimes coaching is just a fancy way of saying, I'll ask you a few questions and then tell you what I think you should do. Well, let's clear the air a little bit about coaching. Coaching is often confused with therapy, consulting, and mentoring. Now, those are great helping professions, but they're not professional coaching. Here's the difference. Therapists focus on the past and work to fix what's broken. Consultants provide quantitative analysis and create roadmaps for organizational change. They get paid to provide answers. Mentors help those with less experience. Mentors are already experts in their field and are helping others reach success. Now, there may be some overlaps in approach, but none of these are professional coaching. Professional coaching is a different type of conversation. There's a whole lot of asking and not much telling. Professional coaches are focused on you, helping you design your future, your goals. They're thought-provoking and inspirational. You work on your topic. A professional coach focuses on you. Professional coaches are also discerning listeners, empathetic, creative, intuitive, and curious. They're trained in coaching behaviors and competencies, which makes them really good coaches, and they're bound by professional standards and ethics. A professional coach will be your partner, your advocate, your champion.
Thank you so much. So what I'd like you to do in the chat is I'd like you to all just write down some of the words and phrases that stuck out for you. And then I'm going to use some cold calling, ask on one or two of you to just share. And please, I really welcome any questions. So in the chat, if you could just write down some of those key things that stood out for you as to what coaching is, what were those key words, and then I'm going to call on, I think, Lisa, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
What stood out for you, Lisa?
What stood out for me was what it's not, and that there is an overlap. Because sometimes, especially with mentoring, that overlap is strong. And we think that we're coaching when we should be mentoring. So that stood out for me. And then just, again, what it's not. And it is motivating to help the person help themselves with their own established goals.
Very true. Thank you so much for sharing that. Because coaching is always about the coachee, the person being coached. It's about their goal, their agenda, what it is that they want. And very often people mix up what coaching and mentoring is. In mentoring, you are the expert. You are handing or passing over knowledge, skills, and information. Whereas in coaching, you are allowing the coachee to explore what it is that they want to do. And we will look at that in a little more detail. What also stands out for me in listening to this again is that coaching is one of many helping professions. And the key message is that therapy looks backwards. It looks at the past. It's past focused, whereas coaching is future focused. And those are some of the key differences between these. Also very important is that professional coaches are actually qualified and trained. And one of the big organizations that does that training internationally is ICF. So if I can move to the next slide, please, Carol. Thank you. I'd like you to just read these definitions of coaching. And as you're reading them, I hope that my talking in between doesn't disturb you too much. But we need to see that coaching, you are not the expert, and that as a coach, I'm a teacher, but I am able to coach someone who's a pilot. I'm able to coach somebody who's a surgeon, because I don't need expertise. They are the expert. My expertise lies in my ability to ask the right questions, powerful questions, and to listen carefully, so that I can guide the person through my coaching to reach their own solution. So again, I'm going to jump to you, Najma. Welcome. Can you tell me a word or a phrase that stands out for you from this slide with the definitions?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I think for me it was active listening, empathic listening. Because I came in at the end of that.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask just one more person to share. And again,
being empathic in listening.
In listening. Yes,
and I
that's
got
the most
point that
Okay, that broke up a little, so I wasn't able to hear. So if I'm talking over you, my apologies. Thanks. We'll move on to the next slide now that I've given you very little time to read the definition of coaching. And I'm going to give you a brief history as to where professional coaching comes from. Tim Galway wrote a book called The Inner Game of Tennis. And he coached tennis players, world-class tennis players. And what he noticed was that no matter how skilled they became at the art of tennis, there were times, and you've seen this when you watch a big tennis match, where suddenly a very good tennis player would start failing, they'd start fumbling, they'd start losing their way. And what he realized was that no matter how skilled they were in winning the outer game, the game that they needed to win was the inner game. And he realized that unless he addresses their fears, their concerns, their self-belief, they were not going to be able to win the inner game and match their skills in the outer game. And that's where the coaching philosophy all took birth. Interesting. Next one. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to show you two videos. One is 3 minutes and one is 6 minutes. So it is a bit long, but I want you to write down what the differences are in the two two conversations. So if we can play the first one on the next slide, please, Carol. That one is 3 minutes.
Hey, Victoria, can I talk to you for a couple of minutes? You know, we've worked together for years, and truth be told, I find it a bit challenging to manage my time. I just don't get enough done in a day.
Yeah, me too. It's hard for all of us. What more with our company downsizing? The workload is just getting heavier and heavier. Have you tried speaking to your boss?
I've asked him for help, but he said everything on my to-do list is important and that I need to get it all done and within the given deadline.
I see. It sounds stressful. Maybe you should take a time management course.
I'm already so busy now. How am I going to find any more time to take a course?
I don't know, but if this is going to help you, maybe you can try and make it happen.
I'm already working 50 hours a week. If I work anymore, I'll just be taking time from my family. What do you do?
I work long hours too. You know that, right? It just helps me to have everything in my calendar so that I know how my day looks like and which ones to prioritize. Did I help you?
I don't know. I'm just so tired trying to organize my life.
You've got about 10 to 12 people working in the team with you, right?
I've got 6.
Why don't you talk to them and ask them to do some of this work? I feel like our company never hires enough people.
They're already as busy as I am. I guess I just have to live with this.
Yeah, maybe it's just during this season of deadlines that things are just so hectic. It might get better.
I suppose I'm just so tired and my kids are complaining that I don't spend enough time with them.
I know, it's been tough. Well, try to check out some time management courses. There's so many of them online anyway. Might help. If you have no time, you can always schedule to do the course during lunchtime. At least you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I guess so. Maybe I should try that.
Yeah, all the best, Jason.
Thank you, Caro. And we can now move to the next one and see the second conversation and notice the difference between the two.
Hey, Victoria, can I talk to you for a couple of minutes? You know, we've worked together for years and I just find it a bit challenging to manage my time. I just don't seem to get enough done in a day.
Thanks for sharing, Jason. What makes you say that it's challenging for you to manage your time?
I can never get everything done on my to-do list. The more I get done, the more I end up adding to the list. You know, I talked to my boss and he just said, you need to get it done. It's crunch time, we don't have enough people, and we can't fix the deadlines.
I see. Sounds like it's a busy time for your team. What would you say is successful time management?
Well, I would get everything done on my to-do list.
Okay. Is that realistic?
Well, maybe not. I don't know. I just feel incredibly stressed with all that I need to do.
I hear you. So would you say it's more of a time management issue or a stress management issue?
Both. If I can't finish my work, it stresses me out. The cycle never seems to end, you know. I'm also working over 50 hours a week, and if I work anymore, I'll just be taking time away from my family.
Yeah, I can imagine you'd be stressed. If there was something you could do in this situation to make you feel better, what do you think that would be?
I think I'm really struggling to cope with the amount of projects I have on my plate. I wish I didn't have so much to do.
What small step can you take to have lesser work on your plate?
I could talk to my boss, I guess, but that didn't work. So,
Okay, who else can you talk to for help?
well, I have 2 workers who seem to feel good about how they manage time. Plus, they seem to be able to communicate their messages across to the boss, which is something which I would very much like to learn from them as well.
Yeah, you did mention that you've already tried to talk to your boss and that didn't work out so well. How will you approach them?
I guess I'll start first with my co-workers. Perhaps asking them for advice about approaching our boss too.
So when will you realistically be able to talk to them? You seem so busy.
This is really important to me. I'll talk to my co-workers right after our conversation to schedule time with them.
Okay, and how will you fit it into your schedule since you're so busy already?
Victoria, this conversation is helping me to realize that I've got to do something. I'll make time to talk to them. Maybe invite them for lunch tomorrow.
Sounds like you're getting more perspective on this time management problem.
Yeah, maybe one of the problems is that I'm hoping some kind of fix will come along without me having to do anything about it. I think the thought of me talking to my boss kind of intimidates me a bit as well.
That's really good insight, Jason. What is it about talking to your boss that intimidates you?
I just can't help thinking or feeling that he'll think I'm stupid or incapable if I talk to him about extending the project deadlines or reducing my project involvement.
Okay, I see. But what would happen if this continues in the long run? We don't speak to him about it.
He will probably think I'm coping with it, or that it's even okay to push things over to me. I'm not a machine, I just need a bit of help.
Yeah, you did mention that you work up to 50 hours a week.
Yeah, I learned something new about myself. Victoria, this conversation was really helpful.
That's really great to hear. So what was helpful about this conversation?
I guess I really liked the way that you just asked me good questions. It really made me think. And I realized that actually I contribute to the problem and solution as well.
I'm so glad to hear that. Well, Jason, thanks for being so honest in this conversation. If you don't mind, after you've talked to your co-workers, tell me what you've learned. Not just about time management, but about yourself. So maybe I can use some of that learning for myself too.
Sure, it's a deal. Hey, thanks again.
You're welcome. All the best, Jason.
Thanks so much, Carol. And now when Carol stops sharing, I'll share my screen once more. While we're making that quick change, can I ask that you can write into the chat if you haven't yet shared, what do you think was the key difference between the 2 conversations, talking about the same topic? And I'm going to call on Lisa, if you can share for us what you think those key differences are.
Good morning again. I think the key differences are the restraint needed and not offering what you think and constantly asking the probing questions. That takes a restraint because I think as educators, I know for myself, we're fix-it people. We want to fix it for you. And in fixing it, we're not equipping you. We are actually holding you back from coming up with your own solutions. So that is really resonating with me. One, the value in learning how to ask good probing questions. There is an art to that, but really
Yes.
the restraint in not offering your opinion.
Yes. And when I first started on the journey of coaching, Lisa and everyone else, that was the hardest thing, was this conversation in my own mind and quietening my mind and my judgment and listening attentively, really giving 100% of my attention so that I could know what is the next most powerful question to ask, and keeping an inquiring mind. Wanting to know more. So here we see in a very simple conversation in just 6 minutes, how through asking the right questions and following a set process, as some of you have picked up, following a tool or a model, you are able to support the coachee or that person who has come to you with a challenge. So having looked at that, at how these two conversations are different, sorry, I'm just trying to get to the next slide. I'm going to just summarize and say that when we coach in this way, when we go into true coaching, what we do is we empower the person that we're coaching, and they then take responsibility. They define exactly what their issue is. You don't tell them what the issue is. And what it does is when you start empowering people, you see that the staff engagement increases. You see that their performance increases, and it helps you as a leader, especially as a leader of a school, to identify potential leaders, and then you can use leadership coaching to support them. And of course, instructional coaching supports our teachers. Is the sound coming from me or from someone else? Not me. Okay, I'll keep going. It's somebody in the room. So it helps you to know what your strengths are. It helps you to develop these. It motivates everyone in your team, but it does take a huge time commitment. And you as the coach need to be confident about what it is that you are doing. What Victoria did in that coaching conversation is she used a GROW model. And I should mention that there are many, many different coaching models. But what I've found, no matter where I've worked, the GROW model is a model that is very effective. And if you'd like to try something else, there are others. And what you're doing is the hardest work, or the most work in a coaching conversation, is the goal and the reality. We as teachers are solution focused. We want to run to the options, tell the teacher what to do, go and do this, go and try this, this worked for me. Instead of filtering and finding out exactly what is the goal, what is it that you want to accomplish? And more importantly, what is happening right now? What's your reality around this particular issue? What have you tried? What's worked? What's not worked? Then you move on to the options. And again, it is the coachee's options. And then you as the coach ask questions to strengthen their will and help them to decide what their next action step is going to be. Now with ICF, in the first video, we also heard that there are professional standards and codes of ethics in coaching, and I'm sure you are all well aware of the importance of building trust and confidentiality within a coaching conversation. So here you'll see a list of the being of coaching, the competencies, and I'm sure any coaching organization would align themselves with these. A coaching mindset means a growth mindset. I don't come to you with solution. I come to you with my curiosity and interest. And then the doing of coaching, that it must be by mutual agreement, willing coach, willing coachee. If your line manager tells you to go and coach that teacher, she needs coaching, it will not work. There must be an agreement between you and the person you are coaching. They must want to be there. If they don't want to be there, you're just setting yourself up for failure and ticking a box that might just please somebody else. Most importantly, and this is why I've put this in bold, is the importance of building trust. The person has to feel safe, and you have to put aside uninterrupted time to be able to do that. Stay very present, listen very carefully, be very aware of everything, not just the words coming out of their mouths, but their body language as well, because you are there to help and facilitate their growth. Now, the key message I've been giving is that the coach only asks questions. But in instructional coaching and leadership coaching, when we get to the options part of coaching, we've established the goal, we've explored the reality, and now we're going to explore the different options. This is the time when you as the coach put on a dialogical coaching hat. And what this means is that this is the only time in the coaching conversation where you can share your strategies and options that that teacher or potential leader can take to improve themselves. Discuss them, look at the pros and cons of each of these, and then rank them or rate them so that the coachee can determine which of these they would like to start with first. And then you move on to the next stage where you take off that dialogical coaching hat, and again, you pure coach, and you strengthen the will of the person to be sure that they are committed and they are held accountable for their next step. Very important in coaching, the relationship is equal, which cannot be said the same of mentoring, where the mentor is the expert. In the coaching relationship, you are equal, but the expert on that person's problem is that person. They are the expert, and they're going to help find the solution. In instructional coaching, the father, I call him the father of instructional coaching, is Jim Knight, who works at the Center for Research on Learning at the University of Kansas. And he came up with 3 very simple steps of identify what the issue is, learn, and improve. So instructional coaching together with leadership coaching is cyclical in nature. It's not just once, I meet with you once, it means I meet with you repeatedly. The very first one is the identify stage, where if you are doing instructional coaching, the teacher comes and says, I'm having a problem with Jim in my classroom. He won't stop talking, he won't stop moving around, he won't sit down and do what he's supposed to be doing. So you arrange and you go in for 5 or 10 minutes and you observe and you note what the issue is. In the next meeting, again, you sit and you determine what that goal is by asking the questions so that they can come up with a SMART goal. Then you come up with the teaching and learning strategies. You put on your dialogical coaching hat and you get them to prioritize which one they would like to start with first. And then you give them time. You give them 2 weeks, 3 weeks to go away and implement. And then you come back and you observe to see how that student is coping with the different strategies that the teacher has implemented. In the improve stage, what is happening here is the teacher is also gathering data about that particular student. And in this one, you would go back, they would try the next strategy and the next strategy until you can see the progress made with that particular student. Now, having listened to what I said in my explanation, what should be becoming very clear is that in instructional coaching, the goal is not about improving the teacher. We keep thinking that if we improve our teachers, then we're going to improve our student outcomes. The goal is focused on the student. What does that student need? That student is restless. He's got ADHD. So the strategies I might need to apply is differentiated strategies. So again, it's not that I am not good at differentiation. So you don't put the focus on the teacher because immediately a barrier goes up. You put the focus on what is it that your students need. Which student or group of students are you concerned about? What is happening? And then they set the goal, which is always student-centered. It's always reachable. It's always easy. It's always something that they're very passionate about, they care deeply about, and it's one that's going to make a difference to their students. So now I'm going to shift gears very quickly and move into leadership coaching. So how does this differ from instructional coaching? In leadership coaching, this is also a developmental process where you are looking at the people within your school and you're looking at who those potential leaders are. Remember, willing coach, willing coachee. And if it is that they want to develop, they have that potential to be good leaders, you then have to work with them to identify, so what is it that you need to improve? They might say, my communication skills, working with my team, supporting an online team. Now, when we have to make a shift to remote learning, it might be something as simple as writing effective emails, sending effective messages on a WhatsApp group to my group of teachers. So again, we use the GROW model to develop whatever skill it is that that person needs. The difference in leadership coaching, sorry, I've just put this up, that these are some examples of the areas that you can support that person with. It could be their communication, their leadership, how do they develop others, how do they use emotional intelligence? This is so important, especially in the work that we do. How do you manage stress and conflict, not just for yourself, but for your team? It could be leading innovation and change. We know in education, there are changes expected of us continuously. And the one I've mentioned before, how would you lead a remote team? But again, it's not your agenda. It's not what you think they need to improve. It's the area that they identify in that conversation that they wish to improve. In leadership coaching, the cycle, it's also cyclical. We still use the GROW tool. You still identify the goal. You still look at the reality. You still look at the options, and you strengthen the will. But the difference in leadership coaching is that in the first phase of the growth cycle, called the identify, you engage with the person, you are agreeing that this is what you're going to be doing. So in essence, you're setting up a contract. What's expected of you, what's expected of me. And next you can do a needs assessment. There are a number of tools, a number of needs assessments that you can get free off the internet, depending on the area that that person wishes to improve on. Once they've completed the needs assessment, you come together again and you look at the next steps where you explore the key details and you come up with your options or your growth plan. At this stage, you can now put on your dialogical coaching hat again. If you are the leader and you are coaching someone and they wish to improve the way they facilitate meetings, their meetings are too long-winded and have no direction, and they want to see how you do it or somebody else in your school does it, then you would allow that modeling to take place and you'd have a discussion around that so that they can refine their action plan and what it is that they're going to do. And then you move into the next stage where you would go in and they would facilitate a meeting, and then you could give them feedback on that where there's lots of reflection and review. And then you go back to phase 2 where you look at their next action step. You get time to practice, you give them feedback, and you move back to phase 2 at their next action step. And you repeat this until that growth plan, all the key areas identified, have actually been covered. And that brings you to the end of that growth cycle. Leadership coaching is very important because it promotes you as the leader, your own credibility, your own professionalism. It gives a clear direction of how the coaching will be done because you've got a fixed agreement with that person, and it builds very positive collaboration between the coach and the coachee at receiving that coaching. So sorry if my apologies if I was speaking very quickly. I was trying to get to the end because I want to give us time for asking questions and a discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Venessa, for that insightful information. If there are any questions, we are going to have some Q&A or any feedback. If you'd like to ask any questions, please do so now. This is your opportunity to engage with Venessa, and she will give you your responses. Everybody's so quiet. Anybody who would like to ask a question or respond?
Let me start the ball rolling. Yes, Venessa, like what was mentioned by Pushpa also, this coaching, as you, said it, explained just now, sounds more like counseling. Would you agree with that? Yes. Yeah, can you please tell us the difference?
Okay. Counseling is like the work that therapists do, where they look at things that happen in your past. What happened in your past, what happened as a child that is resulting you in feeling the way that you do. So counseling is focused on your past, whereas coaching is focused on your future. What do you want to do moving forward as a leader? What do you want to do moving forward as a teacher for your students?
Thank you for that, Chitra. Thank you for the response, Vanessa. There was another person who wanted to respond or ask a question.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question. For the need analysis, how to do that?
Wow. Okay, I'll give you a list of tools that you can use. Some of these I've used more than others, and these you will find very free and easy. One of these that is very effective that I really like to do is called the Wheel of Life. Another tool is called the PES, which is the Process Evaluation Scale. Another one is VIA, which is an inventory of strengths. People can find out what their strengths are. You've got the Myers-Briggs assessment, which is also very popular and well known. And there's another thing called the Life EKG, not sure if you've heard of that, or a leader competency inventory. So again, depending on what the particular issue is, I would suggest that you explore the different tools and see what would work best for your context.
Thank you. I see Marge.
Thank you, Mom.
Marge.
Thank you, Vanessa. That was so interesting. Just from a practical point of view, have you found many schools that are taking the coaching on board? Or does it happen in a formal, recognized way within a school, or is it just informal, that somebody kind of knows that somebody's done a coaching program and sets up a time with them? Or how much are schools recognizing this as a need within their institution?
Marge, thank you so much. That's such a good question. This is really becoming more and more of a need within our schools. I personally am very fortunate. I'm working with a private group of schools, an international group of schools who have consciously, intentionally decided that they wish to develop a coaching culture within their schools. So what they first do is that they've exposed all their staff, from their office admin staff to their cleaning staff, everyone to an introduction to coaching, because it would benefit them personally, in their lives as well. And how to conduct a coaching conversation. And then those who are leaders go on to do leadership coaching, and those who are instructional coaching, which is also your school leaders or your middle leaders or your heads of department, year heads, grade heads, they go on to learn instructional coaching. My suggestion is that there should be a formal training, because it's very easy to make mistakes. And so when your coaches within your school have had a training to be able to conduct these coaching conversations, you find it to be a lot more effective.
Thanks a lot. That's great.
You're unmuted, Chantal.
Sorry, Jasmine, did you have a question? I see your hand is up.
I don't have a question. It's over to the audience. Vanessa, those resources you have just mentioned, can you, if we're talking some other things, can you type it out?
Yes, I can.
Or share it with Carol via email, and she will add it to there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Right. Are there any more questions? Or I would like to ask a question, if that's okay. Vanessa, how do you get your staff to buy into this, coaching module? Because sometimes they think that management just wants to, lay things on them, and it's so how do you get a staff to buy into this idea of coaching?
For me, I looked at how to introduce coaching into a big organization, and a school is an organization. And first is to make sure that you have buy-in from senior management. Unless the school leader is behind coaching and understands the benefits of coaching and allows for the facilitation of that training, it's not going to work. Secondly, you have to make provision for professional development, some sort of professional development. And there's got to be a clear explanation to your staff, as like any change that you introduce, they need to understand the purpose. Why should we do it? Because the big question for us as human beings is, what's in it for me? What will I benefit if I become part of this coaching program? And my suggestion is start small. Start with those who are willing. Trial and pilot that, and then slowly begin to expand that within the school. Don't try to just go in and get everyone on board at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Venessa. So you basically saying that your management team needs to, buy into this first. And that can sometimes be a challenge. So, and I mean, just looking at the comments, I think that is a challenge for some of our teachers, where their management teams are not always on board.
Agree. But that doesn't mean that if I'm a teacher in a school and nobody else in my school is engaging in coaching, that I cannot try that. Because we all have friends, we all have peers, we all have a teacher buddy that we work well with. And so this is something that we can try with a buddy. Try the peer coaching, try peer observation, try having a coaching conversation using the GROW model, asking the questions, and then getting feedback from that person. So I don't think that as individual teachers, we should stop ourselves because our management is not seeing the light around coaching yet. It doesn't mean that we as individuals cannot take that on ourselves to work with at least one other partner in the school or outside of the school.
Okay, thank you for that, Venessa. Are there any other questions? We are coming very closely towards the end of the session. So if there are more questions or comments, anything you want to comment on?
Hi, Chantal. Can I say something?
Hi, go ahead, Najma.
Okay, so I think some people, some of the educators in the group have actually mentioned that like sometimes there's no buy-in from leadership. But also the other issue is that all of this coaching is based on trust. And the main facilitator mentioned that the trust has to be there. It has to be a trust relationship. And I think that is where the issues, it's easy to be coached or managed or supported or guided by somebody you trust. But if the trust is not there, I think that's where maybe in our school, the things start to unravel. The people don't really want to be coached by particular persons or will not seek support or guidance from certain people.
100% hear you, Najma, and feel with you. But my question that I'm going to throw back at you is there somebody within that in your school that you trust, that you have a good working relationship with, that you could trial coaching with?
Yes, there are certain individuals who are very trusting, very caring, empathic listeners, supportive. And I think those people gravitate towards each other. There is some sort of coaching going on as it stands. But definitely there are certain elements, in almost any organization, there are elements that are divisory, and that is what I'm talking about. This sort of, God, I'm on leave with flu. But this is what happens in all societies, in all organizations. Certain people you don't want to approach them, but definitely in our school, definitely. Chantal and I, we're at the same school, and already we've been involved in these workshops. So yes, we've started small, and we can always grow it with our influence.
Well done. It's a case of courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. And where do I put my energy? Do I put my energy in the fact that it's a complex, difficult environment, or do I take my energy and invest that with the people who are like-minded, who do see the power of sharing and growth and supporting each other. And start small, start quietly, just with 1 or 2 people within your circle. And do this
Yeah,
for yourself and your students.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Najma. Thank you, Najma. Khalid, would you still like to ask a question?
Yes. Hello, my name is Khalid. I'm calling from Egypt. Sorry for error I had before. Actually, I would like to comment about this topic. It's really very important. Thank you, Venessa, for sharing, and thank you, Tiff, for this program. It's really amazing. Just I want to share to something for all the teachers, because I start as a teacher since 20 years ago, and I start as a coaching training since 10 years ago. I'm now pro coach and facilitator, multilingual in WPACS. What I want like to share, the very important 3 topics for teachers they must learning. What about this is communication, conversation in communication, and communication, and body languages, and healthy, because 3 topics, those it's very important for teachers to learn about this, because they can be able to contact with teachers, with students, with parents. It's really useful for all teachers. Thank you for this topic. I think it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing, Khalid. Really appreciate the feedback.
Okay, thank you, Khalid. I think it's 4 minutes left, Jasmine. So we're going to just round off this session and wind up. Just to summarize, so as we can see that coaching is different to, mentoring. We need to make sure that when we are coaches, that we need to be good listeners, and that we have to have our the people we're working with buy into what we want to achieve, and we want to help them to achieve things. We're not telling them what to do. It's up to them to decide where they're going, and we're just there to assist them to get to that place. So Venessa, thank you so much for this session. I think our educators learned quite a bit this afternoon, morning, evening, wherever we are. I certainly learned quite a bit. Jasmine, can I hand over to you now? Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Vanessa and Chantal. I just want to thank you for coming to actually offer your time and your expertise to help our teachers to understand coaching better. What I would like to highlight is that we have teachers here from Malaysia, Nepal, Uganda, Macedonia, South Africa, the US, Dubai, Egypt, Sri Lanka, Argentina, Kenya, and Morocco. Did I leave anyone out? If yes, please put your country in the chat. What I would like to highlight here, India. Oh, I forgot. Give me already. Did you forget Argentina? Oh my God. Okay. Did you forgive me already? Okay. So what I would like to highlight is this was our foundation, right? We're having more sessions on coaching, and we're going to have a workshop where you come back and say what works for you. So this is the first in our series of coaching. We have someone from the UK doing another one. And then on the third one, we have someone from Finland doing another one. And then we'll all come together. Vanessa, myself, UK, Finland, Malaysia, we'll all come together. And it's going to be about you. We're not going to speak. You're going to tell us what you did and what worked with whatever we presented to you. I want to thank everyone for supporting T4 Education in our quest to transform education. I know we're different, but we need to be if we want to achieve our objective. I also want to thank my colleague, Carol, and I'm going to quickly highlight her. She's doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and sometimes we don't acknowledge people enough. So that is Carol, and she will be sharing in the chat today's presentations with Vanessa's permission. In the chat, the PDF version, and it will be on the app, and Vanessa will be doing the replay in the on-demand section on the app. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm not going to say much more. We'll see you at the next session, which is on the 9th of February 2023. Over to you, Carol, to put it in the chat. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, Yasmin.
Thank you.
It's in
Thank
the
you so
chat.
much, everyone.
Downloaded.
Thank you.
Jasmine,
Thank you so
I'm
much,
going
Vanessa.
to share some guiding questions that Carol can email to everyone, together with
sure.
a list of the tools. I'll share that.
That would be brilliant.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's in the
Bye-bye.
chat. It's in the chat if you want to download it now.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michael. Great having Uganda here. Uganda is the new USA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine.
These teachers are just on fire. Like the transformation that has already been happening. Like they put us to shame because we have all the resources. And look where they are today, and they actually applying things.
It's wonderful.
So, it's wonderful. It's amazing. I agree. Feel free, if you have downloaded the PDF, you're free to leave, and then our team will just stay back for 5 minutes to just do a quick debrief.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you, Jasmine, for everything. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Lydia. Thanks, Hajira. You're on next day. Thanks, David. Who's here? Let me see. Thanks, Alma. It's good to have you here. Aisel. Mare. I'm so scared to pronounce names incorrectly. And Melinda. Wow, all the way from the US. Thank you. We'll be in touch.